Let's get Melissa Bell up here, who's the co-founder of Vox. Woo, yeah, okay. I love it. Why entrepreneurs need to care less about technology and more about culture. We're going to have more dance parties later, by the way. Be ready. Okay.
Thank you. We can dance right now if you guys want. I don't have to give my talk. Part of the reason why I don't really want to give my talk is because the first part of my talk is about how much I love Kodak film, and it turns out that's totally racist. So I apologize in advance. So I'm Melissa Bell. I'm here to talk to you guys today about why culture is better than technology. And I'm going to start by saying I loved Kodak film when I was growing up. All right, thanks so much. See you guys later. When I was a kid, I felt like Kodak was this magical thing that turned into memories, showed my face and my sister's face. So embarrassed about this speech right now. But there's justice in this world, because Kodak, while it commanded most of the industry, it had 95% of film sales, 85% of camera sales, and it was a forward-thinking company that invented the first digital camera that predicted accurately when the transition from film to digital would take place, and invented the first megapixel camera. They took too long to figure it out. So thankfully, they did not commit to digital until 2007 because they're racist. And they went bankrupt. So, good job, Kodak. No, the reality is that something else happened at Kodak. And I think that this quote really was, I actually do think it was partly because of the lack of diversity at the company, but this quote actually, I think, is a big clue into what happened. When the inventor of the first digital camera took his invention to the company's management, they said, "That's cute, but don't tell anyone." I think about this quote a lot. I think about Kodak a lot. 2 years ago, I started a company with two of my best friends. We looked around at the news industry and we realized something was broken. We realized that we had been inundating people with information, but we weren't providing context. We weren't providing clarity. We weren't providing an understanding of what really was happening in the news around us. To me, it was a technical problem. There was something that we had not taken advantage on the internet, and we had not built the right product for our day and age to deliver news to people who needed it. We decided to join a company called Vox Media. And a lot of the press around our launch was around the idea that Vox Media had a fantastic technology platform called Chorus. Chorus, as we like to call in the company, is our modern media stack. It allows great storytellers like Kara Swisher, who you'll hear from later today, to tell her stories to audiences across multiple platforms. It allows communities to form up around topics that they love and care about. It allows us, and I'm sorry, I'm now undressing in front of all of you and to further my total embarrassment. It allows us to distribute great advertising across multiple destinations and support our great journalism. What Chorus is not, though, is a fire-breathing unicorn with a ninja cat on its back. However, this is how it's often portrayed in the media, and it actually sometimes can be tricky within the own company. We think that our technology is great. It is great, but it is not what makes us. It is not what has led us to grow from 3 brands to 8 brands over the last 2 years, to grow from 100 employees to 540 employees, 1,600 contractors, and 140 million monthly users. We scaled from 90 ads in 2013 to 6,500 ads in 2015 in terms of in-house production. And these are the first 6 months of Vox.com. I'm totally bragging right now. It is fantastic. I'm so happy about how our company is growing. But I constantly have to remind myself of the Kodak conundrum. It is not the technology that is driving us. The digital cameras didn't kill Kodak, people killed Kodak. I saw this happen in the newspaper industry, what I grew up in, what I loved and cared about deeply. There were smart, talented people working at newspapers, and they didn't listen to each other. They didn't listen to the voices that were saying, we need to explore something new. They didn't listen to the digital camera inventors. something that we try to do at Vox is take a lesson from the Sesame Street, learn our alphabets. The letter C comes before P. Communication, collaboration, culture, context, caring, community, those come before projects, process, products, and plans. As an entrepreneur, when you start a company, you have an idea, you have a product in your mind. That's what you think you're going to spend all your time on. I'm going to tell you a couple lessons that I've learned over the last 2 years. And the first one is you have to invest in people, not in products. What I learned quickly was that I was not going to spend my time building a product. I was not going to get to spend the time that I loved whiteboarding and inventing something small with a small group of people. No, when your company is growing, you have to care the most about the people around you. What I'm the most proud of at our company is that we've created a team of super talented, engaged, energized people. This is where inclusivity comes in. This is where the effort to make sure that these people are supported with the right structure to do their job is what has actually become my job. At first, it felt frustrating. I felt annoyed that I had to deal with all of these opinions and ideas and feelings all the time. It can be kind of exhausting. But as soon as I realized that I had to stop thinking about the product as the most important part of my job and the people as the most, and switch that to think about the people as the most important part of my job, that's when I started to love my work. I'm so proud of the people that I work with. I care so much about them. And it's their ideas that are going to push us forward, not mine. So that was my first lesson. The second lesson is that I had to fire myself. As soon as you get the right people in the right positions, you have to get out of the way. This took a long time for me to learn. I love doing my job. I love working, and I'm actually pretty good at it. But it turns out that sometimes you need to get out of the way so the people who come behind you, the people that you mentor, the people that you care about, can do the job differently than how you do it. I was really frustrated at first when I saw the people that I was bringing in do the job slightly differently than how I would do it. It's not that they were doing it wrong, it's just that they were doing it in their own way. Something that we have to think about as entrepreneurs is being able to pass that off to the next group of people so they can push you forward in ways that you don't have. I had no idea how to illustrate this point, so I just went with Pee Wee Herman on a bike. It's Pee Wee Herman. The third point is don't hire jerks and don't be a jerk. I was going to put don't hire dicks, but I thought this was the wrong community for that. Kind of obvious. The don't hire jerks part, though, is actually something that I really think is pretty obvious. You don't want to hire people that are bad. But I learned sometimes that you compromise. You sometimes find people who are so smart and so talented that you give them a pass. You forgive them. Excuse me. You forgive. I'm going to totally fire my wardrobe dresser, who's me, as soon as I'm down off the stage. So you find people and you give them a pass because they are talented. You give them a pass because they're smart. And sometimes you give them a little too much of a pass. You have one person in the room that is too much of a jerk, creating too unhealthy of an environment, and that can ruin the rest of that culture that you need to cultivate with every single every single particle within your being. However, a big lesson that I learned is that sometimes you may think someone's a jerk, but you're actually being the jerk. This is Matt Iglesias. He is my co-founder and my partner. And as you can see from his photograph up here, he's rather stern. He's going to be really happy when I tell him that I put his photograph up here and called him a jerk in front of all of you. When I first met Matt, I thought he was a jerk. He had really strong opinions. Every single time I'd have an idea, he'd question it. He'd contradict it. He'd poke at it. And it felt really frustrating to have that happen to me. I didn't like the fact that he was constantly questioning my ideas. But what I realized is that Matt is actually a warm nugget center of joy and love who produces great offspring like his son, Jose. And Matt was giving me what I needed the most. He needed to give me conflict. He needed to give me questions. He made my ideas so much stronger. And I would have been the jerk if I hadn't listened to him. So, don't be a jerk. Make sure that you fire yourself. And build people, not products. And hopefully you can escape the Kodak conundrum. And I hope that my company will be around long enough that Jose will realize that the company that his dad built with a lot of other great people is a company that will stay innovative and definitely not racist like Kodak. Thank you guys so much.